जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
वालेकुम अस्सलाम वरहमतुल्लाह।
Acha, some questions from the people before we start our class today. Any idea about the finances of the company? Mohsen Sheraz.
Yes, sir.
So, what is the capital of company? How does funds or money comes to the company, and any idea about shares and their kinds, or capital and their kinds?
Sir, it is based upon the nature of the company. Either it is a private company or it's a public company. What sort of company it is, and most companies' capital or share capital. It is based on the members, those who are shareholders, and other like also by bonds, debentures, other sorts of these capitals are also included for the financing of the company.
ठीक है। अवैस खान।
जी सर।
शेयर्स की कितनी टाइप्स हैं मेरे ख्याल में? Any idea about shares of the company or share of company? जी
नो सर।
राबिया जावेद। राबिया जावेद। समीउला। Yes, Rabia, tell us about shares. What do you mean by shares? Any idea? Okay, Sami, you tell us. Sami.
सर इसकी टाइप्स का तो नहीं पता, क्योंकि अभी तक मेरा नहीं ख्याल हम लोगों ने पढ़ी है इसमें इस सेमेस्टर में।
ठीक, पहले से कोई आइडिया?
पढ़ी है,
पहले कभी पढ़ी है, ठीक है। कैपिटल की कोई काइंड्स पढ़ी
पहले भी इतना? नो सर, बिल्कुल भी नहीं। एलएलबी में भी नहीं पढ़ी।
ठीक है। इतरत। इतरत बतूल। जी वालेकुम सलाम। वालेकुम सलाम। Do you know about types of shares?
सर आई रिमेम्बर हमने जो कॉर्पोरेट लॉ में पढ़े थे कुछ ये कुछ प्रेफरेंस शेयर्स होते हैं, कुछ ऑर्डिनरी शेयर्स होते हैं, कुछ नॉन वोटिंग शेयर्स होते हैं। सर बस इतना ही याद है मुझे। आई डोंट रिमेम्बर एग्जैक्ट कि कितनी टाइप्स होती हैं, लेकिन ये कुछ मेरे माइंड में है कि हमने इनके बारे में पढ़ा था।
कॉर्पोरेट लॉ मैंने पढ़ा था आपको।
और सर ये किस तरह लिमिटेड कंपनी में अलग होते हैं, अनलिमिटेड में अलग होते हैं?
कॉर्पोरेट लॉ मैंने पढ़ा था।
सर यासिर राठौर ने पढ़ाया था।
ठीक है। अपना सर मुझे खुरम
Yes, sir.
any idea about shares and their types?
Shares and their types.
जी
So kindly repeat करेंगे, थोड़ा आवाज का
shares and their kinds. Any idea?
सर आई गेस देयर वर मुझे सर एग्जैक्टली तो याद नहीं, लेकिन कुछ प्रेफरेंशियल शेयर हुआ करते थे, इक्विटी शेयर हुआ करते थे। फ्रॉम द टॉप ऑफ माय हेड आई गेस यही थे सर। ऑर्डिनरी शेयर्स थे या कोई नॉन वोटिंग ऑर्डिनरी शेयर्स भी होते हैं, प्रेफरेंस शेयर्स होते हैं।
ठीक हसन।
जी सर, ये प्रेफरेंस शेयर्स हैं जिसमें कोई प्रेफरेंशियल राइट्स होते हैं प्रॉफिट्स के ऊपर, और इसी तरह एक्विटी शेयर्स हैं, उनमें प्रॉबेबली कोई प्रेफरेंशियल राइट नहीं होता, वो जो है वो डिविडेंड्स में अपने उसके मुताबिक जो है प्रोपोर्शन से वो रिसीव करते हैं। और क्यूमुलेटिव शेयर्स होते हैं, वो मुझे इतना क्लियर उसका आइडिया नहीं।
ठीक है। अच्छा, well, our company's regulator is SECP, ऐसा ही है ना? So, Manan, would you tell me why we call it Securities and Exchange Commission of Pakistan?
Sir, maybe because of its functions.
कौन से function?
Being a regulator, I mean, they are the custodian of company law, and as well as the rules or the regulations which are framed under it.
Then why shouldn't we
And
call it Company Regulator or Company Commission of Pakistan? Why is this Securities and Exchange Commission of Pakistan? Anyone?
Yes.
नहीं?
सॉरी सर, आइडिया नहीं है सर। सवाल बहुत अच्छा है आपका, लेकिन आइडिया नहीं सर।
रफी?
सर असल में जो भी कंपनी रजिस्ट्रेशन के लिए जाती है तो उनसे लाजमी सिक्योरिटी भी लिया जाता है ना, एसएससीपी जो लेती है उनसे, या ये कि एसएससीपी दूसरे इदारों को सिक्योरिटी देती है इस बात की कि ये इस कंपनी की रजिस्ट्रेशन हमारे पास हो चुकी है, लिहाजा आप बिला झिझक जो है इनके साथ अपने ट्रांजेक्शन्स कर सकते हैं। क्योंकि जो कंपनी रजिस्टर ना हो एसएससीपी के साथ तो उस पर लोग उतना एतमाद नहीं करते, पहले देखते हैं कि ये एसएससीपी के साथ रजिस्टर है या नहीं है। तो
इस सेंस में जो है सिक्योरिटी मिल जाती है पब्लिक को भी, और वो खुद भी लेती है कुछ बड़ी जो कंपनियां होती है। दूसरा जो एक्सचेंज, मेरे ख्याल पे सर मुझे कंफर्म तो नहीं है, लेकिन मैं जो समझ रहा हूँ वो इस तरह हो सकता है कि जो बड़ी कंपनियां हैं उनकी आपस में भी ट्रांजेक्शन्स होती है ना, लेकिन उन तमाम ट्रांजेक्शन की जो एडजस्टमेंट है वो थ्रू जो है एससीसीपी होती है। तो शायद सर इस वजह से इनका नाम ये है सर।
Okay, anyone, any other person who have any idea about that? ठीक है. Now, I'm going to define, I'm going to share with you the definition of securities as provided in Securities Act 2015 of Pakistan. And when we will go through that definition, you will get the idea why this is SECP. ठीक है, और वहीं से फिर हम we will be talking about shares and we will be talking about capital as well. I chose this topic. Perhaps it could be the last topic. There were some other topics that I wanted to discuss. Maybe मैं shortly ज़रा सा discuss कर लूँ. Otherwise, ideally that happens to be a seminar in which we discuss the theories of corporate governance. हम उसको देखते हैं lightly. मैं थोड़ा सा उसको touch दे दूँगा. Otherwise, we spend one whole class on that, theories of corporate governance, and this equity and the finances of the company as well. So, and some other topics, jurisdiction of the court, etc. But since the one topic that I selected as to be the most important topic that we must go through instead of other topics, and that was this finances of the companies. Some of you have idea about that, but we will be trying that all of you people have a good knowledge about this aspect of the corporate law, because this is number one. It's more, this area of the corporate law is more linked with the financing and the financial law, obviously, which is a little different from the legal field. So I just wanted to have a little introduction of those areas of corporate law as well. So as I told you, I will be sharing the definition of securities with you, and here we have it. It's as provided in section 2, definition clause of section 2 of Securities Act 2015. And it says securities in the case of listed instrument includes, these all are the securities. These are almost 7 to 6 types of securities. And basically, the term securities as used in SECP relates to these securities. Rafi had somehow tried to answer the question, but इनको डिटेल में हम जरा देख लेते हैं to get a clearer idea about securities. Basically, securities are all those documents which in financial law में which provide you a protection that your investment or your right is protected. So you know all the instruments that you normally have, with the help of which you can avail some rights, or you can get yourself your right enforced. Those could be said to be securities. वो तो जनरली हम नॉन फाइनेंशियल एस्पेक्ट में देखें तो एक डॉक्यूमेंट है सेल परचेज का, it is some of a security in the hand of a seller and the purchaser that the transaction has already been taken place. Company law में and financial law में, it always relates to the funds and the investment and the financing. So any security that you have in your hands, in return of some payments, in return of some investment, that document and that security and that entitlement is basically is known as security or securities. So this is basically the concept. And the first type of securities is the share or the stock of a company. You know, share is either in physical form or it could be in electronic form. But in either way, it gonna give you a security and it gives you an evidence that you have certain shares in a particular company. So either is the shares or a stock of a company, which are the same thing. Number two, it's about the debt securities. Obviously, when you give someone some financing or a company does some financing with third party, there is some sort of security, there is some sort of security given to the creditors, and that instrument, the instrument of debt, it is also known as security under the company's law. So if we, as we can see on the slide, any instrument.
सर काइंडली स्क्रीन शेयर कर दें.
अच्छा शेयर नहीं की हुई आपके साथ. I hope you can see that.
Yes, sir. Now, yeah, we can.
So, number one, shares of the company or securities. Number two, there are other types of securities as well. Number two, any instrument or that creates or that acknowledges indebtedness, which is issued or proposed to be issued by a company, including in particular debentures. You might have heard the name. Most famous जो securities में आते हैं वो ये debentures आते हैं, debenture stock कहें. These are the different name, by the way. Loan stock कहें, company किसी के साथ लोन का transaction करके उसको कोई security दे देती है. Bonds का term, it's also a kind of debt. Notes means simply any note that acknowledges the indebtedness of the company, that will be known as, that will also be called as security. क्योंकि उस note की वजह से the third party, the creditor, can go to the court and get its remedy. So that is a security in the hands of the creditor or the third party. Commercial paper, उनकी भी same significance है. Basically, they acknowledge the indebtedness. Sukuk, this is also a bond, but Islamic financing के तरीके से जो fundraising की जाती है, we call it sukuk, or any other debt securities of a company, whether constituting a charge on the assets of the company or not. Simply any instrument, any transaction that acknowledges the debt of the company, it's a security as well. चाहे वो note हो, चाहे bond हो, sukuk हो, debenture हो, when it is in the hand of the third party or the creditor, it is a security for him to get his debt back from the company. Third one is loan stock. Shares of common or preferred stock that are used as a collateral to secure a loan from another party. The loan earns a fixed interest rate. Almost similar significance है जो ऊपर हमने डिस्कस की है. ये भी loan stock, sorry. These are the shares of common or preferred stock that are used as a collateral to secure a loan from another party. ये basically होते तो shares हैं, either common or preferred stocks होते हैं. यानी company issues the shares, but these shares, they are used as a collateral, mean as a security for a loan from the other party. Means you are taking debt from another party, but in return you are not issuing the debenture. Instead, you are issuing a share, which could be common share or which could be preferred share. ये उनको loan stock कहा जाता है. I hope you understand that. अच्छा, बॉन्ड, सुकूक, बॉन्ड जनरली जो बॉन्ड होता है जिससे फंड रेज किया जाता है, And sukuk, as I told you, it's the Islamic way of financing, to raise financing, and other instrument creating or acknowledging indebtedness by or on behalf of government, central bank, or public authority, government and public debt securities. So they will also be included in the definition of securities. When bonds are and the sukuk are issued by or on behalf of the government, that security is also known as, that instrument is also known as security. Muzaraba certificate, participation term certificates, and term finance certificates. Muzaraba certificate is again linked with Islamic finance, in which the people who invest, they are issued the certificates about their investment. Participation term finance certificates and the term finance certificates, they are basically short term normally, loaning to the company, and the company obviously issues some certificate that acknowledges your debt. Any right. Now, in addition to that, पिछले जो examples थे, they were clearly examples of debt or investment. Share में investment था, debentures, loan stock, sukuk and bonds, muzaraba certificate में there was a loan. So someone lent money to the company, and the company ने document issue कर दिया, and that will be called the security. Now, this another type of security is any right. It is known as warrant, in fact. Any right, whether conferred by a warrant or otherwise, to subscribe for shares or debt securities. Warrant basically, I mean, it is, you might be aware of its meaning. It's basically a permission. Warrant is a permission. It means that company gives permission to any individual and entitle him to subscribe to the shares or debt securities of the company. कोई भी transaction, कोई भी interest, कोई भी transaction हुआ है between company and the third party, and against that, company says that you have this warrant, you can get anytime, you can subscribe to the shares of the company. So that right, I mean, that is not the share basically. That is a different. That is not a share. That is merely a right towards the subscription of the shares. And you know, कि company, पहली बात यह है कि अगर मेरे पास ऐसा कोई right है, तो that has its value. If only me have the warrant, means I have the permission to subscribe for the shares of the company and not any other person. Obviously, that itself has some value. And in fact, that warrant is also tradable. I mean, I can even sell that warrant to any other person on any benefit, on any cash or any other benefit received from the third party. So a warrant is also security. Any option to acquire or dispose of any security. Another way is that company may give you some option, obviously against any any transaction might have taken place, any benefit might have been gained by the company, and in reward, company gives me an option to acquire or dispose of any security of the company. So यहाँ पे जो मेरे पास right of option है, that is also known as security. ये भी एक basically एक right होता है, एक security है आपके पास, that anytime you can acquire the certain number of companies share, and normally these are issued to the directors and managers of the company to incentivize them. उनके पास ये option होता है that they can subscribe as a reward. If they like, they can have these options. So वो option उनके पास होते हैं, and obviously that option is again a security and it's tradable. यूनिट इन अ कलेक्टिव इन्वेस्टमेंट स्कीम mean mutual funds में including unit in or securities of a trust funds, whether open-ended or closed-ended. In this subclass G it's in fact it's all about mutual funds, and you might be aware that mutual funds, these are broadly of two types. One is known as open-ended and the other is closed-ended. Closed, पहले हम ये समझते हैं, closed-ended means कि the mutual fund has issued certain shares or certain units, उसे units कहा जाता है, उसने unit issue किए and the people have purchased that and the episode is closed. चाहे वो 5 मिलियन के सब्सक्रिप्शन थी, वो 1 करोड़ की थी, 1 बिलियन की थी, whatever. So this is called closed. The chapter is closed. उसका कैपिटल वही रहता है यूनिट्स का या म्यूचुअल फंड का. वाइल ओपन एंडेड जो फंड्स होते हैं, जो कि पाकिस्तान डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज में गालिबन ज्यादा नहीं होते हैं, डेवलप्ड कंट्री में ज्यादा होते हैं, उसमें ये होता है दैट दे आर, आई मीन उनका कैपिटल इंक्रीज होता रहता है. more and more people, if they like, they can buy the units, and so the capital somehow जिसको हम कहते हैं वो स्टेबल नहीं होता है, that varies. आज के दिन जो है ना इन्वेस्टमेंट लोगों ने, लेट्स सपोज दीज यूनिट्स दे आर ट्रेडेबल ऑन द स्टॉक एक्सचेंज, तो आज के दिन लोगों ने काफी स्टॉक्स इसके यूनिट परचेज कर लिए म्यूचुअल फंड के, कल नहीं किए हैं तो ऊपर और नीचे होते रहेंगे. ऑन द अदर हैंड जो क्लोज एंडेड होता है उसके सिर्फ वही शेयर्स या वही यूनिट ट्रेडेबल होंगे जो कि इस फाइनेंशियल कंपनी के पास थे, म्यूचुअल फंड के पास थे, एंड दे आर बीइंग ट्रेडेड. एक ने परचेज किया, दूसरे ने सेल कर दिया. दैट वर्क्स लाइक दैट. The right under any depository received in respect of shares, debt securities or warrant, या उसे नॉर्मली उसके लिए टर्म यूज किया जाती है कस्टोडियन रिसीप्ट्स. अब ये जो कस्टोडियन रिसीप्ट्स हैं, अगर मैं सिंप्लीफाई वर्ड्स में, इसका एक इंटरनेशनल इसका यूज भी है कस्टोडियन रिसीप्ट का. सिंपली अगर मैं ये कहूँ दैट यू कैन keep your shares or any other debt securities in the custody of any financial institution, बैंक हो गया, any other. और ये जो, और against that obviously वो बैंक जो है मुझे एक receipt देगा that look, this is the receipt that your shares are in my custody. That is known as custodian receipts. और ये जो custodian receipts होते हैं obviously they acknowledge that I have certain securities which are in the custody of that bank, and obviously these are tradable. These are again acknowledge my right towards those shares, and they are tradable. लेकिन इनका ज़्यादा जो काम होता है वो international selling and trading of the shares में होता है. Means एक country, एक मुल्क की कंपनी के शेयर्स जब दूसरी मुल्क में उसके ट्रेड हो रहे होते हैं शेयर्स, तो वहाँ पे कोई कस्टोडियन का कोई सीन किया जाता है, ताकि यहाँ पे डायरेक्टली मैं अमेरिकन स्टॉक एक्सचेंज में पाकिस्तानी कंपनी के शेयर्स को डायरेक्टली यहाँ से सेल परचेज ना करूँ, या यहाँ पे बैठ के मैं अमेरिकन के शेयर परचेज ना करूँ. इसमें कोई कस्टोडियन को इन्वॉल्व किया जाता है. सिंपली इसका मीनिंग ये है कस्टोडियन रिसीप्ट का कि समवन इज in the custody of your shares or any of your securities. It could be warrant. आप अपने warrant भी securities में रख सकते हैं. It could be your debt security or it could be shares. All these. और उस पे जो आपको वो receipt देगा, that receipt is also security and it's tradable. And the last one is any other instrument notified by the Commission to be security for the purpose of this act. किसी और document को भी government अगर कहे तो that could be said to be सिक्योरिटी, बट सिक्योरिटी से कुछ चीजें एक्सक्लूड कर दी गई है. नंबर वन, फ्यूचर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स have been specifically excluded, although they could be said to be a security. Future contract क्या होते हैं? Future contract में that I will buy the shares of the company after 6 months. this is a kind of contract. It could be a kind of contract between two people, between two companies. लेकिन normally जो future contracts होते हैं वो commodities में, real चीज़ों में हो रहे होते हैं. For example, मेरे ख्याल में आपने सुना होगा, if you are from some villages, तो ये wheat और ये जो गंदम वगैरह के इनके future contract हो रहे होते हैं. That a middleman comes and he purchases the wheat इतने कनाल पे है और पहले इसे प्राइस को फिक्स कर लेते हैं. So after 6 months or 2 or 3 months he comes and collect that all wheat, sugar cane, whatever the case may be. So normally all types of commodities में contract ज़्यादा involve होते हैं. So they have been excluded. Bill of exchange का concept शायद आपको आपके knowledge में हो. That has been also excluded, specifically excluded from the definition of securities. Promissory note is also not a security, and certificate of deposits, they are also not securities. They have been specifically excluded, although they may be somehow related with the company. For example, certificate of deposits जो है, it could be the certificate of deposits in any company. लेकिन at least अगर उनकी nature certificate of deposit की है, security की definition में वो नहीं आएंगे. They have been as such excluded. So I think by now you have the idea that what a security may be. I hope you have come across new things about securities. ठीक है? ठीक है. Now.
जी सर यहाँ तक तो कंसेप्ट क्लियर है, लेकिन इसका जो रिलेशन सिक्योरिटी एंड एक्सचेंज कमीशन के साथ है,
अब मैं आगे जा रहा हूँ.
वो अभी तक
आगे जा रहा हूँ. Now these all are securities. Now, whenever you have to do exchange of these securities, exchange means buying and selling. One is buying and the other is selling. Exchange हो रहे हैं. So whenever there is happening the exchange of these securities, the commission is the regulator of all these exchanges. All the people who are involved in these exchanges, all the third parties, brokers, exchanges, इन तमाम को रेगुलेट करने वाली ये कमीशन है, दी SEC की. जमशेद जुरेज जो है.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर. सर ये जो ऊपर आप सिक्योरिटीज में पढ़ा रहे थे, आई थिंक पॉइंट नंबर 3 में था लोन स्टॉक.
जी.
सर पहला सवाल ये है कि ये लोन स्टॉक और डिबेंचर होल्डर या दूसरी जो टाइप्स हैं इसमें डिफर क्या होगा फिर? कि लोन स्टॉक में भी तो जब वो देता है तो उसको जो मिलेगा उसको और ऊपर वाले में क्या डिफर है? आया जब उन्हें वो डॉक्यूमेंट मिल जाएगा तो उसके बाद कोई राइट्स डिफरेंट होते हैं इनके या कैसे?
नहीं, जो
दूसरा सवाल ये है मेरा कि जी सर प्लीज.
पहले मैं लेट मी आंसर. जहां तक बी है, बी इज ऑल अबाउट डेट, और डेट सिक्योरिटी आपको मिल गई. आपने लोन स्टॉक यानी आपने डेट दिया और कंपनी ने आपको कोई भी लोन स्टॉक दे दिया, कोई भी आपको डॉक्यूमेंट दे दिया दैट कुड हैव द नेम ऑफ लोन स्टॉक. इंटरेस्टिंग.
तो सर फिर इसमें ऊपर वाले में क्या फर्क है? दोनों का पर्पस तो एक ही है ना? क्या राइट्स डिफर होते हैं?
पर्पस एक है, लेकिन सी को स्पेसिफिकली दे आर कनेक्टिंग इट विद द शेयर्स. वहां पे ऑब्वियसली फिर शेयर इन्वॉल्व नहीं होगा. लोन स्टॉक जो होता है, लोन स्टॉक मींस स्टॉक को आप जनरली टर्म में समझें दैट स्टॉक इज समथिंग, अ कलेक्शन ऑफ समथिंग. ठीक है? तो वो तमाम डॉक्यूमेंट्स या मोर देन वन डॉक्यूमेंट्स जो स्टॉक हो गए, बट दे आर डायरेक्टली लिंक्ड विद द लोन. यानी आपने कंपनी को लोन दिया